When we're talking about motives, if you look at nonfiction books in the personal and business development arena, you see so many on leadership. It's got the term leader to some degree in it. Leadership. I mean, they're used so prolifically that it really begs the assumption or poses the assumption that many people, most it seems, are motivated to want and be and do this, to be a leader. And I'm questioning whether people really authentically have this as a primary true motive to lead or be leaders. Because in the way that I perceive it, I don't really. And I'm also bothered by the label as it tends to signify that some people are leaders and the rest then are by proxy followers, right? We have leaders, we have speakers, authors, experts, whatever, and then everybody else, like in school, right? There's one teacher and then a class full of students. And I, for one, get billed as that leader and teacher a whole lot. And I don't feel like I am. I feel like a student. So that's what I want to unpack here for a purpose. I don't buy it. And I fear people, again, are getting caught up in seeing themselves as one or the other. And I really, again, I don't want to lead you. I don't really want you leading me. But again, let me unpack that. I think it'll give you some freedom. My point is not necessarily to argue the aspect of leadership. I'm not out to dismantle and dis leadership and leaders, but it is help us uncover what is and is not a true, authentic motive for ourselves. And so, if we're feeling again like we should want to be leaders, let's unpack it. So, some people do in fact like to lead and direct people, and sometimes there's value in that. Unfortunately, I think it's often in times when the greater group of people don't take responsibility for themselves. And conversely, we also have people who, just want to follow and they need to step up. They never want to take the lead. And I'm concerned about this reality as well. But what is good and healthy and true in this aspect of leadership? And so right now, I average about a book per day, per business day here in my office, 4 to 5 a week or so, sent to me by publishers and agents and publicists and authors themselves, people who want to be on my shows. And I've soured. And so I'm coming at this because it's cute. I've kind of soured on the term of leadership because it seems like it's 1 out of 5 books has the term in that leader or leaders. And it gets hard to differentiate what the next, book is with that form of leader in the title. What is it? What makes it different? So the fact that it has leader or leadership on it just doesn't tell me much any day these days, because either all the books are the same or they're different things, valuable things, but they're all trying to use this term of leadership. And that's where I push back on it a bit. I have gotten billed as a leader most of my life. I should feel proud and have a big ego from that, right? And I've just not felt the fit. I appreciate that. Again, nothing against somebody who's called me that or put me in that category, but I don't feel the fit personally. I'm an admitted introvert. I don't enjoy, nor am I good at corralling people to do anything, managing people. And again, in my terminology that we're getting into here, leading them. Leading to me often does involve that. It's managing people and coaching people and coercing people and cajoling people. And it often demands attention and respect, right? And none of these things do I personally enjoy or have a core competency in. I do, however, and this is my much to my point here, I like to influence people. I mean, in an effort to help them be the best and freest version of themselves. And some people might say it's semantics. I don't think it is. But Zig Ziglar, who I speak for in my Ziglar show, is one of the most famous sales trainers and advocates on the planet. He claims that everyone is in sales. And I do agree, because ultimately sales is influence. I mean, selling a vacuum cleaner requires gaining influence and trust, the same as getting your kids to clean their room or eat their veggies. And I've never ever met anyone who didn't desire to influence people. I mean, even the homeless person generally creates a setup to influence people to give them money. I mean, the way we know that one of the most fulfilling things in our lives, when I talk about motive and finding, pursuing, and making progress and fulfillment in your life, when I talk about that, I feel like this is pretty irrefutable, that the place that people find the most purpose, which is where they find the most fulfillment, is in having value to other people. We want to be of value. We want to serve and care and love people and help them. And, selfishly, we want to have meaning in people's life. That's where we find purpose. Well, it's very, very difficult to have purpose in somebody's life, to even be able to serve and care for them if we don't have influence in their lives, if we aren't able to influence them, if they don't feel love from us, if they don't respect us. It's all wrapped up in this aspect to have influence. I think we all direly want to have positive influence. I want the influence of people feeling loved by me, feeling cared by me. And it's not all altruistic. I want that reciprocated to me. I want to feel that affirmation and approval, even if I shouldn't. I'm one of those people who thinks we should have all of our affirmation, approval, acceptance, acknowledgement. We should have that internally. We should have that between us and God. My gosh, it feels good to have it from somebody else. But we want to have influence. I desperately want to have influence with my kids. I have grown kids now. If I don't have influence with them, if I don't have a relationship and respect with them, they're just off and gone. They don't have a need for me. That feels bad. I'm their father. I want to help them the best I can. So again, influence. Do I want to lead my kids? Again, you're going to think it's semantics, but I don't think it is, because I think a lot of people don't feel good necessarily about leadership, but we do want influence. I mean, when you seek to influence somebody, let's think about this and really grasp it. Do you think of yourself as a salesperson, or you're out to sell them? Do you see yourself as a leader? You're out to lead them. And I know I'm putting my own bias and tone on there, so forgive me for that. But, I'm guessing though that no, that when you just want to impart something good and help somebody and share something that might help them, you don't really want to think of yourself as a salesperson and as you're leading them, like in some superior way. I think often that term of to sell somebody, to lead them, feels uncomfortable. Yet I will say to the best salespeople and leaders, if you're doing that, it's because the only way you can do that authentically with integrity, morality, is to positively influence somebody for their betterment. I mean, when you experience something that gives you a benefit, you almost immediately want to share it with someone, right? Especially if you're confident it will help benefit them too. You love to help others feel better and enjoy their lives better, but you probably don't want to feel you are selling or leading them. And one piece on leadership too that bothers me, I'm going to try to be as transparent and gracious in this delivery as well, as I take aim at leadership, but I'm not here to just be negative about it. But there are a lot of people who have leadership roles and they have it by authority. If you have a boss, they have authority. If you want your paycheck, they have authority over you. Your manager has authority over you. Your drill sergeant has authority over you. Even if they don't have your respect, even if you don't really care for their influence, but you're just going to bow down to their role of leadership. It's another reason why I struggle, again, admittedly, with the term leader. That's not always fair, but I'm going to question that because we have all probably experienced, and you may be right now suffering somewhat from under a leader that you have to submit to, but man, you don't really give a crap about their influence. Okay. So I'm getting to, so if you're, I don't want that leader. If you're a leader, I think you need to earn people's respect. You need to earn the ability to influence them positively. Same thing again, if you're going to do authentic sales, you're not doing that just to sell to somebody because you need a buck. You're doing it to sell, to help them with a product or service you think can help them. If you realize that it can't, you better have the integrity to not sell them, and don't let them buy for any sake or purpose. But to influence means to have an effect. Listen, this is the definition. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. To influence means to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of someone or something. And I'm going to make this one of the most tangible ways. And I talk about this constantly because I'm a father to 9 and now a grandfather. I want to have an effect, a positive, life-giving, loving, caring effect on the character, the development, or the behavior of my kids? Oh my gosh, absolutely. If I can't, what's my purpose? Is my purpose just to bring in a paycheck? Well, if I get run over by a bus, man, I got life insurance that'll bring in more money than I'm making right now. So my point is to have influence, and I can only have that by loving them well, caring for them well, and having their respect. I want to influence them. I hope and I strive to do that here on this show, to have a positive influence on character development, behavior, on yours and my own. I get to sit under people that I bring on the show and let them affect. I bring people on who I respect and I want their influence continued on my character development behavior. If you listen to any of my shows where I have a guest on and we're having a conversation together, I'm generally in the pose of a student with them. And I'm grateful that often they cite that I have had a positive influence on their life as well. It's a great quid pro quo that in that aspect, I think is relevant for all of us. We need to be taking turns as leader and follower, teacher and student in our lives with everybody. There's nobody who's just the leader, who's just the teacher. Shouldn't be. If you know a leader, again, who's not being taught and led by others, there's something wrong. But I'm here on this show to offer beneficial information that you can use to go wherever you desire. I think this is important. I can't tell you where to go. And even if you want to go to a destination that I've gotten to, I can't tell you the best way to get there for yourself. I can influence with some guidance your journey and your path, but it probably will be different than my own. I mean, don't you want that influence to help guide you on your journey as opposed to just somebody to lead you? A primary personality for leadership in our culture is a guy named John Maxwell. It's one of the most famous quotes he has is a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And folks, I just cringe at that statement. Now, not at John overall. I do not know him personally. And I know a lot of people that I do respect who cite him as having a profound positive influence in their lives. And I've read some of his stuff. It's a smart guy, wise guy, and, I'm sure a great guy. But you take the greatest person on planet Earth, no one's perfect. And to me, that's not a perfect statement. It feels somewhat, again, I'm not saying that about him, but it feels somewhat arrogant and self-righteous to me. I mean, on any given day, I have 15,000 people tune into and download and listen to these messages that I put out, just like I am now. I mean, compare that with a mega church pastor who preaches for a few thousand people on one day of the week. So, due to this, again, I'm billed as a leader, but I just don't see it. What am I leading you to? I'm here to expose you to positive and helpful content, some of it that I think up, probably the minority. And I bring a lot of, really amazing influencers on the show. And it's so that you can lead yourself to wherever you desire to go. I mean, plus so much of the content I provide, even like this here, which was written by my fingers and spoken out of my mouth, is not from some place I've arrived and perfected. I'm on the journey with you. If you hear my shows with my guests, again, I generally feel like I'm a recipient, not a leader. I'm pursuing messages I care about and am learning and striving to apply to my life. I don't know the perfect way. I'm doing my own work to go the right way for me. So how do I show you the way to go specifically further? I mean, I've yet to find any one right way to do anything. I can bring you 10 people who've made $1 million or $100 million, and they've all done it in different ways. And before you say, well, yeah, but they use the same principles to get there, that's the right way. I'm going to argue that too, because I know so many of those people with great wealth and prosperity and success, and they've done it amidst violating what I would say are the best principles overall. And they've still done it. So to say, here's the way, I'm going to show you the way because I've gone the way. And I again, greatly question that perspective. Again, I'm not here to criticize leadership, but questioning how we view it. And again, if it's a valid motive for us and what is a valid motive for real, a true one. I mean, if you like me see all the great resources with leadership and you don't feel the pull for yourself, it's maybe even a little uncomfortable, well, join me in my club here. But again, influence, that's something else. and to the leadership resources. Most of them, now here is where I will hold them up. Take all these books on leadership, and most of them are, in fact, giving great advice for having influence. And I would say that with John Maxwell. Again, I'm not a gargantuan student of his product, but what I've seen is it's really good on this topic. So if you want good influence, there's great stuff to partake from him and a lot of other people. So again, my point is not to discount anything out there with the title of leadership, but just to question the premise and to open up a better scope for you on something that I think applies to more people, and that's influence, not leadership, not even sales, but influence. And the point is always, again, what is your motive? What amongst this topic motivates you? I'd say we all have a desire to positively influence people. And to do that, there's so much for us to learn. So read and listen again to the Leadership Council. So much great advice out there. Same with sales, but feel free to extrapolate it for your desires to influence people, to affect them positively, to make a good impression on them for their betterment, to touch their feelings and help inspire a positive difference to their lives. That is a glorious motive. And I think more people can embrace that and get the benefit from that in their lives under the term of influence than specifically and especially leadership. Well, friends, I hope this gave you new insight into what you truly want. Is it leadership or is it influence? And how you perceive and embrace this leadership culture that we're so much in. Hey, I want your influence in my life.